Power Struggle, the last big show before the Tokyo Dome, was our last chance to set up some matches and get a real direction of what the biggest show of the year or next year was going to entail. So, very important show, and I think the show was good. The matches were mostly good. Again, this main event stuff is a mess, but we'll get into that in a second. First off, we had Yoma Shota, Captain Suicida, and Tiger Mask take on Yo, DKC, and Ninja Mac. It was an opener, not too much crazy apart from anything Ninja Mac did actually. Like this guy, you're kind of glued to the screen when watching because he's just doing crazy stuff all the time. He's doing the 4 backflips over the top rope. He did a senton to like nobody. Like the commentators were laughing because he just jumped over. He did a senton to the ground effectively. He didn't hit anyone. I think it was Captain Suicida he was meant to be aiming for. He was just lying on his ground like perpendicular question mark if that's the right term from the ring, and he just like landed next to him, so he just sold his arm. And they were just like, "What are you doing, mate? You're just jumping back first on the outside, landing on the floor. No person. Insane." Rightfully, after he did his 4 flips and then another flip, the DKC got a win with Rough Rider from the top. A decent opener. There was a bit of action because it wasn't all oldies, and Ninja Back is insane and definitely worth watching. Then we had a 10-man tag, Hontai against Bullet Club. Again, very, very short match. Like, there's 10 people. Not everyone got to do everything. You got to see the velocities be quick. There were some weird spots with Robbie X, actually, where he, like, tripped up twice. I don't know if that was miscommunication or if he was losing his footing. But it looked like there was spots planned and he just ended up on the floor, so they just did something else. I mean, I guess he's relatively new to New Japan and fighting some of these guys, but that seemed really quite odd. There wasn't enough to ruin the match. All of the Bullet Club guys hit their finisher on the Young Lion to the point where I felt like they were sending him off. I can buy a Young Lion taking all those moves and disappearing for 3 months. Again, another fun, action-packed match. Everyone here looked pretty damn good, so. Next up, Honma, Yano, Dragon D, and Taguchi versus LIJ. Just another fine match, 7 minutes, in there, out, just to get some of these names on the card. I feel like we keep topping ourselves every time. Dragon D hit the new best 2 people colliding teammates into each other. He did like a drop toe hold into like a spear into the corner from one guy to another. And genuinely the most believable I made you hit your tag team partner move ever. He then followed up with a cool transition with a sunset flip. I thought he looked great in this match. Again, someone I wouldn't mind seeing a lot more of. If they can nail down some of these guys from this tournament, and on top of like Doki feeling close to a made man now, we could be looking at like the junior division as a legit contender to being as big as the heavyweight division. Hiromu and Despy are stars. As I said, Taiji's, he can keep up. Doki's not far off with this run. I genuinely think if you tried to promote the junior division a bit more, you could probably create some big names out of this, and these could really headline the Tokyo Dome, a Despy Hiromu match, for example. Again, it was just a LIJ Mighty Man match. Get Naito on the card, get him to do some stuff. Yeah, it was fine. It was just another 7-minute match with some good action, and then we move on. A 7-minute match up next that didn't have so much great action was Bolton and Tanahashi versus Evil and Ren Narita. I can't be too mad because everything that they're doing with Bolton is right. Like, he beat up 5 guys on his own while Tanahashi was down. Like, they're doing everything right with Bolton at the minute. It's going to be sad when he's a single and he's going like 50-50 with like Great Okan or something, which no offense to the Great Okan, but Bolton's been beating up 5 guys on his own. He could legit have some Brock Lesnar like feel vibe to him if they just carried on this path and just him started winning most of his one-on-ones, you know, convincingly. This wasn't really a key match for the night. This was just kind of a warm up the crowd, get some styles on there, build up that Tanahashi Evil match, and also set up some challenges for Ren Narita. So this is where Wrestle Kingdom match was made. Triple threat. The last match when Narita won this, because you can't do too many House of Torture stuff because you've got a strict 50-minute time limit. I think Narita comes off better in those. He can use his technique to like kind of ruin the good guy's day rather than just straight up cheating, which I think makes a much more intriguing character. Cobb's Cobb, he's great. And Mr. Grip, we'll see. I'm sure he'll be great. Just, I haven't seen anything from him to make me think, oh, I'd rather see him fight than a Goto or an Ishii. Like, they're doing a lot of the same stuff, but those guys are, like, way experienced and more better, you know? And have better matches so far. Okay, then we got to the important stuff, starting off with Shota versus Sanada. It's a result we all expected. We all know in the back of our heads that it's probably going to be Shota challenging for the title with those tease matches they did at the end of the show a couple of weeks ago, a week ago, can't remember, lost track of time. So as predicted, Sanada takes those 2 big L's in a row, which unfortunate, but he can bounce back from this, and well, we'll talk about Sanada in a bit. But without going too far into the card, there's nothing wrong with losing to Zack and then Shota. The crowd were quite pro Shota here. I think the problem with Umino is obviously his character. His character sucks. He's good in ring. He has good matches. I probably enjoy his matches more than any of the guys that come back over the last few years. Apart from maybe Uemura. Like, is he Tanahashi because he plays with the crowd? Is he a badass like his mentor Moxley? You know, is he like a Naito where he's too cool for school because he's always got this calm expression on his face? Like, I don't know who Shota is. Again, I'm not going to be the first person to say this. Everyone's saying the same thing because it's true. He's like 8 people super glued into one. You've taken bits and parts, stuck them together. What have you got? He doesn't even keep a consistent haircut. Even his look contradicts. Like, he's got the white, like, bright white trackies with the flashy lights. Like, is he meant to be a cool badass because he's walking down to the ring a la Moxley? Is he meant to be have that aura? Or is he meant to be a happy-go-lucky babyface? Like, he's got elements of his character which are really conflicting. And if he committed either way, I think it would work. But at the minute, people just kind of applaud his work and then other things happen. Well, again, we'll talk about that after the main. Okada and Hanare won the tag team titles off TMDK. I didn't think Mikey Nichols and Shane Hayes would have too long of a reign because I feel like they're going to bounce between Japan, probably go home. So I'm not too surprised they lost the titles. Disappointed they didn't get to, have a match with Wrestle Kingdom with them because, they've been consistent in this division. Kind of like a flash win. They kind of just hit their finish and the match was over. So they kept TMDK strong. But the main talking part here isn't the tag match. It's the one-on-one match, Hanare versus Mikey Nichols. There was like 3 or 4 minutes where it's just solidly them trading back and forth. Mikey hits a headbutt and busts himself open. Everyone was just seeing Shibata versus Okada again for much, much less. Then the other 2 paired up, Hanare and Shane Haste, and they were a lot more technical. It was like 2 single matches joined together at first. You got the hard-hitting stuff from those 2, which was great. And you got the more technical rolling around on the floor from the Great Okan, which is also fun. And then you got the tease finishes at the end. It was only 11, 10 minutes. It wasn't long. So again, it couldn't have been a great match, but what we got instead was a really great short singles match between Mikey and Hanare, if a bit dangerous. Some fun stuff with Great Okan and Shane Hayes grappling, and then some near-fall teasers. So it was an easy watch. Best of Super Junior Finals, Catch 22 versus the Ichiban Sweet Boys, I think they're called. You can tell they wanted to have a blow-away match to steal the show, but they were only given 15 minutes, so they just kind of did as much in those 15 minutes as physically possible. It felt like a 25-minute match in 15 minutes because it was just all go, all action. Some wonderful near falls. Again, they tried to make this feel as epic as possible, as many kickouts as possible. They hit all the moves in the world and everyone kicked out and the crowd were going nuts. These junior heavyweights, they could really be the focus part of New Japan for a while. If you're not sure about some of these heavyweights, just have Hiromu and El Despy main event shows. I think Fujita can get to the point pretty quickly where he can fight someone like Hiromu and have a great main event. Doki's obviously over now. But this match was worthy of main eventing. Shame it didn't get the opportunity to do so, but great match. So the usual thing with these tag tournaments, because it's so late in the year, is that the winner will face the champion at Wrestle Kingdom. So the Sweet Boys won the tournament, so they're challenging. The Jet Setters came out and said, yeah, obviously we accept, but also we want to fight Catch 22. They got to the finals and they beat us during the tournament. And then the War Dogs come out and attack, and then I guess it's a 4-way. If this was the end goal, why not have the War Dogs in the same group and switch the velocities? The velocities could have gone 2 and 3 against a load of guys. That could have been a really busy, hectic Group B. And you're thinking, crikey, that's really loaded. Who's going to make it out? It would make more sense for the champions not to make it out. They can lose to the War Dogs and they can lose to Catch 22, which is no shame in that. Catch 22 still get to the final and then lose to each one. Sweet Boys can probably go like 5-0 or something, because then there's no one in that group they need to lose to, really. So I think, again, just a little bit better booking could have made sense a little more, rather than people attacking people and getting a match on the greatest show, which isn't against New Japan logic, people just attacking matches being made. But if someone's getting a title shot for a tournament win, and then someone else is getting a title match because they beat someone during the tournament, and then the third team is just getting a match because they attack them at the right time. Kind of stupid, really. So I wasn't too much a fan of that. Really. Doki Wato, again, another great Doki match. I was concerned he would lose this because he's out for a while, and I feel like Doki got this run because of a load of injuries, really. Obviously, they're working on something with Hiromu. There's some sort of plan with him for Wrestle Kingdom, otherwise he'd be involved in all this. Desperado had to take some time off. Watto was out. Yo was out. I feel like all these guys would have been ahead of the pecking order for Doki, but Doki, in all fairness, got the opportunity and he's rolled with it and he's been great. A lot of teases of the old Doki Choki at the end, and yeah, that's how he won. How it would stack up, Watto was obviously fine. He's a good, competent wrestler. Again, against his recent opponents, where like Kanemaru is legit a really, really gripping match. Ishimori is obviously technically superb. I think saying this was a step down was a bit harsh, but it definitely wasn't quite on the level I thought as the other two matches. Maybe because Watto's probably an unfinished product. There's something there, obviously. He's great. But he's just not as polished as these other defenses as Doki has faced. But saying you're not as good as Ishimori or Kanemaru is, it's nothing against you. They're just really good. And then Desperado made the challenge against Doki. For this one, I would like to see Doki win. Desperado's a big name already. I guess you could cement his legacy with this big Wrestle Kingdom win. But Doki, again, like, they're just on the fringe of making Doki a big deal. And I feel like a Wrestle Kingdom win against El Desperado in a great match, I feel like Doki would feel like Ishimori level then, where he's not obviously Despi or Hiromu, but he feels like a big deal now. But speaking of fancy booking, Finlay versus Taichi. I feel like I start all these with a great match, but it was. Finlay definitely feels more confident. Feels over for one now. The crowd always react how they should. They boo him whenever he pleads to them because they've done a good job. Goto's sacrifice wasn't for nothing. Taichi, like, when you don't see him as much as we have, and you just watch him, like, damn, he kicks hard. Like, everything he does, every single kick makes the crowd react because they all look so good. Taichi's got this great offense that's just killing this heel that we all want to see lose. Again, he doesn't quite have the presence of like a Jay White or Omega, but he's doing a pretty damn good job. Not everyone has to be compared. He's doing fine. But at the finish of the match, Sanada, I'm not sure what they're doing with this. What I would hope is that they're not completely convinced as Finlay as a top heel, so Sanada's gonna be he's gonna be the AJ Styles to Carl Anderson's leader of the Bullet Club. Carl Anderson was basically leader of the Bullet Club during the AJ Styles era. He was just like their ace, He was their big gun. I'm hoping Sanada's going to be the same. Not because I don't think Finlay's ready, but because it would just ruin all the hard work they've done for Sanada. And it would really suck if they've really just thought, oh, we just need someone to fill in Jake Lee's spot. People are going to hate on it because Sanada's really the opposite of what the War Dogs kind of stood for at first. Just a load of angry, violent foreigners done waiting for their time to shine, and they were taking their chance. And while Sanada's been given opportunities, I guess he fought for them, to be fair, but, he hasn't got that, like, destructive tendencies. He's very relaxed, very chill. But to say that is just forgetting immediately that when this Jake Lee and Gabe Kidd team started, these drinking buddies, like, it was getting over. So I'm not going to say it's going to be bad because it doesn't match the characters, it's going to say blah, 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 blah. I feel like it might undermine all the hard work they've made to make Sanada a star in a point where we need as many stars as possible. But we'll be patient. It could be great. Again, if this is just to make Sanada like the dark ace, quote unquote. If this just makes him like the evil hill to climb, if this makes him like 2016 Naito, then that's great. Then Finlay challenges Yoda Tsuji. This, obviously, Tsuji should win. There's no reason Yoda shouldn't. I think if he kills a load of guys, put this global title on him, he's one step closer to being a top guy. So I'm looking forward to that. I think that could be great. If Finlay wins, I'll be truly baffled, because it'd be, again, I guess it would help Finlay a little bit. The reason you build up these foreign heels is to be slain by the hometown hero. And if on the big show Yoda wins, then Star is born, potentially. I still think he could have won the world title on his first night against Sanada, but cooler heads probably prevailed, and I think this could be great. And in main event, Zack Shingo had a great match. Who would have thought? The story was Zack has never beaten Shingo by pinfall, and Shingo beat him in 2009 with a sleeper, and he was going to go for that. So both guys are trying to play to their weakness, really, in a world title match, which is kind of strange, and you could say it would cost the loser, but it's what they did. Shingo tried to out-submission Zack, didn't work, Sleeper he got out of it, and Zack outpowered, I guess, Shingo, hit him with the Zack Driver 1-2-3. Again, a great match. It's exactly what you'd expect from these guys. The after stuff is a lot more interesting. So Zack's like, okay, who's my next challenger? Shota walks out and gets horrendously booed. Again, we've been over it. His character's an absolute mess, and the promo sucked as well. Again, my Japanese isn't what I'd like it to be, but from what I can tell, how he came off, it came off as very like, please sir, can I have a title match, sir? They were trying so hard for him not to say anything to get booed, which made it worse because he seemed like just a little kid asking to please have his turn. Like, there was nothing cool about this promo, aura-wise. At least that's what I felt and how it came off with the translations live. It felt like Zack was pitying this lost child. So after that embarrassment's over, out of all the people in the world, Ricochet runs in and attacks Zack. Challenges him for the 5th. Obviously, it'll be a great match. It'll be weird for them to try and build up. Maybe a lot of fans remember him as like, oh, Will Ospreay's equal, and they'll see him as a big name, because Ospreay's a huge name now. Even though that was kind of Shingo. But, you know, as in skill level, as in, you know, they were very, very equal. It'd be interesting if they can make Ricochet feel like a big enough deal where that match is worth watching and not just you're turning in to see Omega versus the Bucks. Then Shota runs back in and now he attacks Zack and then says, hey, like, don't forget about me. I want my title match after getting some pushing and shoving. Like, they're trying so hard to not getting booed. Because in this altercation, like, Zack hit Shota first, and you think, oh, they're gonna boo Zack. Shota's gonna retaliate, and thinks, oh yeah, cool, you know, you get him, Shota. Like, he was patient, he was a very nice boy. He didn't do anything to get booed. He very politely asked for his title shot. He didn't even demand it at Wrestle Kingdom because they think they'd reject that. He didn't lay a finger on Zack until Zack laid a finger on him, and then he did stand tall at the end, laying everyone out that for him. Well, the one guy. Like, they reverse engineered this angle so much to not get him booed and to get him cheered, to the point of parody. They're forgetting the fact that people already were going to boo, in which case they should just roll with it. Like, they were trying to prevent a thing that was already happening. It'd be like if the coast flooded and then they put up a seawall. Like, the damage is done. Like, you can try your hardest to protect someone else in the next time, think about it better, but the damage has been done. Just roll with what you've got, play into the heelness, and just don't make him a squeaky clean babyface. But yeah, that's the Wrestle Kingdom match they're doing. Shota Zack, it would be great. Star-making performance. Just please stop trying to make him seem like this very nice, polite babyface. Just give him a bit of a edge. Just do something with him. Like, this is gonna be awful if they just try to make him Tanahashi, because Tanahashi was a heel first, and then got respected, and then was beloved, and none of that has happened with Shota. They're like, here's the new guy, you will love him. It's just Roman Reigns all over again. We just keep coming back to Roman Reigns, don't we? Again, you've got the Naito comparisons. The thing with Naito is that they put the brakes on. They were able to put on a match which was just as big in the main. They held off and eventually turned him heel. Shota, I don't really think you've got the time. You kind of need to make a new star now. And Zack's not a long-time answer for a champion. If Zack doesn't lose it to Shota, who's going to lose it to? Naito again? Like, then we're just back to square one again. So I feel like they do have to pull the trigger on Shota, but they have to make him not such a nerd. Really, really careful how they play this. And it's probably one of the worst Wrestle Kingdom main events we can think of. We could have avoided this if this was Goto fighting for that title, just saying. Maybe it could have been Naito Hiromu for the never open weight. I guess it's not too late to do. I mean, it is. No one's defending the open weight title now. Just frustrating. They're close. The matches quality is back, mainly because Naito's out of the mains now. So we've just got a really good old school New Japan layout. A load of fun matches early, then some great matches late. Just need to put the title on Shota, embrace the fact that fans don't like him, tweak his character a little bit. They just need to find a character where people don't think he's a nerd, people don't think he's about 8 characters glued together, and then there you go, you're off to the races. You can make a new star then. Till they do that, probably putting the title on Shota isn't a good idea. But also, you don't want to hold off on it either, because Zack's not a good long-term Solution for business. Crikey, they've got themselves in a pickle here, haven't they? If this was Takagi versus him, this would have been so much better. Let's see how they get themselves out of this. It'll be a good match. It'll be a good match. Just no one will care going into it. They'll just think, oh, that was actually pretty good once it finishes. Less ranting about Wrestle Kingdom. Let's talk about Power Struggle. Good show, as you say. New Japan feel back. I've listened to the Wrestling Observer, and Meltzer's like, oh, you know, in ring it feels like it's back, but like it's not going to affect business, which true. To do the trade they were doing, they're going to have to get another Okada, going to have to create all these big names. It's going to take a long time. But the match quality's back. It's fun to watch the show again, and that is a great step one. But yes, that's enough rambling. Thank you. Thank you very much. Talk to you soon. Adios.